everyone. Welcome to another Amin Coffee Chat. We are in Guerneville, California, celebrating a good friend's wedding, and we wanted to do a coffee chat talking about, the biggest milestone yet. We've been able to raise our funds and talk about what's coming up next.
Yeah, so this is obviously a slightly different setting. I've got my iced Americano here, and then we came out to Corbel Champagne Tasting Room so Andrea could have a little champagne flight, try a few different flavors. So cheers. So number one, most important thing that we wanted to chat about today is we reached one of the biggest milestones in this project, but it is only the beginning of a much longer race. So first, we want to take a moment to celebrate. We successfully were able to meet our target of $2.8 million raised from investor capital. That was a critical linchpin in being able to finish our loan and fund this project. There will be no project without funding. But with that said, there's still so much work left to do. So we're trying to strike the right balance between celebrating the moment and preparing for what lies ahead. So maybe we can, give a quick indication of, what now, right? Everything we've been talking about has been around raising this money. So now that we're here, what's next?
Well, we are focusing on our value engineering stage with our construction budget. So
what's value engineering?
Value engineering is when you really analyze all the components of the scope of your plan and see anywhere that you can save money, and you just try to engineer savings, essentially, value. We finally have final pricing from our build team. And so now we're going to really dig into that phase. And while that's going on, and while the bank is in their due diligence phase, I will be on the ground running, networking in the community, developing these really important community partnerships that we will, need to operate effectively and, really start building our brand and building out our operations, building out the wish list for what type of staff we want and how we're going to find them and starting that whole process. So it's a lot. It's like the real work starts now.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges about a project like this is that there's a lot of things running concurrently. It's not a clean relay race type thing where, okay, we're going to raise capital now, and then we're going to go do this, and then we're going to go do this. It's actually 3 or 4 things happening at any given point. All the construction stuff has been happening in the background while we've been raising capital. All this finalization of pricing and tweaking and looking at, where can we save costs? Like, what are the different things you might need? How do those map to the timeline? It's very complex, but this is why we have such an awesome team.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a lot of fun just kind of getting to this point. And what the capital raise did from where I sit that I appreciate is that it stress tested every area of the business, right? Investors all asked incredible questions. There were a lot of different angles that people were concerned about. Some were concerned about healthcare, some were concerned about construction, some were concerned about the bank, right? And so each time we got a question, we were able to build this giant library of answers, right? Thankfully, these weren't questions. They were questions that we were prepared to answer, but being able to really pull those through in live conversations and get to a point where we felt even more resolved in our plan, I thought that was a nice secondary outcome of the capital raise was not only, of course, getting the investors on board, but being able to really feel that much stronger in our plan.
I totally agree. Yes, it helped us build out some things that I think, depending on how you go about this type of project, you might do a little bit later or in a different phase. But building out things like the staff scheduling and getting really into the detail there and really getting down to, really fine level of detail really helped us gain more confidence. We do have a really solid plan, and to move forward with that, we feel like we've developed a good kind of base for the business already.
It's really interesting too. I mean, everyone at some point in their life faces imposter syndrome. And as we're going into a much more complex project like this, it is interesting when you're out there, you're trying to raise money, you're talking about this business, and there's full recognition that this is a new world in many ways for us. But we've also spent 10 going on 11 months. By the time we close, it'll be 12 months preparing for this. And so there's also this self-discovery element of being confident about talking about our business, right? And like,
Yeah.
I think
We've had
that's
to do it so much. Like,
yeah,
so yeah, we're really confident now and comfortable.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty funny. I went on, I think it was 13 podcasts throughout the course of the capital raise, and by the end, I forget exactly who said it, but they were like, "Man, you've got these talking points really like,
I really
well
do.
dialed in." I'm like, "Well, I had a lot of practice in the last 3 months, right? Just figuring out how to talk about the business."
And that's really important. You have to be able to do that. That's something that you have to do no matter what. So being on this kind of tour of investors with helped us do that sooner.
Yeah, and I think too, like the other awesome outcome, the investors that are ended up joining our team are people that we all feel really well aligned with. They're people that share similar values. They appreciate the mission behind the business. Most, if not all of them, had some personal connection to senior care, and several of them are even considering doing businesses like this on their own in the future. So I think yes, like we raised the money we needed to raise. We also found the people that were going to be really happy to be involved in the project for the next 5 to 10 years, as we go through this journey together. That was important to us. Beggars can't be choosers, right? Like we were going to have to go and find the money one way or another. But I think a great byproduct is just the people, is nice surprise, I think.
Definitely. And that's another topic that I wanted to bring up in this conversation. Not only the investors who are all aligned with us, and I think that's so amazing, but it also helped us get to know our GP team even better and really start that working relationship. And I just wanted to talk about how grateful and how thankful we are to everyone on the GP team that showed up for this, whole investor capital raising phase, came to the office hours that we hosted, came to the investor webinars with fund managers, and, being able to have a unified front and build that working relationship and seeing everyone's strengths being showcased is just so awesome. And I'm so thankful and proud of the team, really.
Yeah, not only for the incredible work they did, but it's also a cool way for us to settle into our respective roles. We would have investors that maybe they attended a webinar and they had follow-up questions. Some of them were about construction. So we'd bring in Bailey and Blake from Dun Project Solutions to come, and we'd go through the timeline in depth with that investor so that they could feel secure about it. Other times they might have questions about Brett and Laura's memory care mansion model. So we'd bring Brett to a call. It's just a really cool way for us to continue to develop those relationships, like you said, and also show that to our investors, right? It's like, it's not just the two of us sitting here making everything up as we go along. No, we brought in experts for each domain. We're listening to them, we're involving them, and we're all making decisions together in the best interests of the business. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yes.
So from here, it's an interesting, you mentioned you got the construction stuff. We're working through finalizing the bank underwriting, and so essentially they provided a very detailed term sheet at the very beginning. They got all of our preliminary documents heading into this, and then we had to basically hit pause on the bank application until we came back with all the money. So as of yesterday, we're recording this on Saturday. We sent everything off to the bank, and now they have everything they need to finalize the loan. So instead of just sitting around and doing nothing, right? There's still so much left to do. I think a lot of it probably lies in your court as we continue to kind of look ahead to, okay, construction is going to be going for about 10 to 12 months. And then after that, we're going to have a living, breathing business with staff. We have to find the residents. Between those two things alone, you could easily spend the next 10 months. So maybe,
Totally.
Maybe share a couple of things we're working on to kind of prepare for that phase.
Well, we are building out, the ideal caregiver, the type of person that we want to be a caregiver. We're building out the ideal avatar for the manager, for the chef. What type of staff do we need? And, thinking strategically, okay, who are going to be our partners in the industry, outside of the industry, in the referral space, just in the community organization space? Who are going to be our partners that are really going to help us create that sales funnel and really help us fill our wait list before we get opened? And this will be a really exciting space for me and Joseph to work together, and him bringing his clinical expertise and expertise working with medical professionals will be so valuable. And we will start to just build out our strategy of how we're going to go about this. And, our goal is to have a wait list and be, almost full before we even open. And it's possible that we could have a wait list before our construction is even complete. And I think that would set us up really well for opening.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, going through the investor conversations and everyone's looking at our pro forma and like we got 12 months budget for construction, we have 12 months budget for lease up. We did that in a very specific, methodical way, and we tried to budget more time than we think we need.
Mm-hmm.
So now a lot of this is a race to how can we fill up as quickly as possible, but responsibly as possible. If we've had 32 people move in on day one of opening, that would be a disaster, right? So like we have to hire, train, find build the culture, get people prepared, because ultimately this business is only going to be as good as our staff that we can find to run it on a day-to-day basis. We can provide the leadership and the vision and the mission and the vision and the values, but the day-to-day execution and how people take care of our residents is what will drive the business. So finding that like fine tune of like, we want to market as much as possible, but we also want to be pacing when we lease up accordingly, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. And with even the timing of hiring is a little bit tricky because we can't hire staff in the next couple months, right? Like we won't be open in time and we're not going to be paying people that long. So the timing, finding the right person and then getting that at the right time where we have enough time to train, but it's not too much time before we open. And that'll be something interesting that we'll figure out.
Yeah. But we're grateful to be at this phase. I mean, this is probably one of the bigger milestones as far as just making the project actually happen or not.
Yes.
And it was an extraordinary team effort. It took months, right? I actually, there's another episode I put out on my podcast where the kind of 5 biggest lessons that I learned from going through this capital raise experience, from the teamwork and all that. I'll, for anyone watching this, I can link to that. But, that was quite a journey. It's quite a journey. It was about 2.5 months from launching the offer till finishing funding, but another 1.5 months of preparing and getting all the structure in place. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel it was an equal amount challenging, but more importantly, rewarding, because the end result is that now we're here, one giant step closer to making this thing happen. We've got the right people on our team executing on the day-to-day business. And then we also have investors that we're really proud to have on the team. So
yes,
just, more than anything, want to celebrate that milestone and
yes.
And take a moment to thank anyone who's been involved so far. Whether you're following along, whether you invested with us, whether you're on our team, we were very grateful for you.
Yes, thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in. And we're looking forward to doing more of these.
Catch you next time.